So we're on Swadhisthana chakra, the orange color. See how orange I am today? Swadhisthana chakra is just below the navel. The location point of the nerves are in the actual sacrum. So it's a little bit higher. So it's to do with all of our sexual energy. So the ovaries and the sexual organs. The base one's a little bit more to do with, even though we're at the base, it has more to do with excretion. Now is about our sexual energy, our sensual energy, our reproductive energy, our regenerative energy, our reprogramming energy. So it's not just reproductive, it's not just about sex and sensuality in sexual ways, sensuality in the ways the way we can create our new self as well. So it's a very creative chakra as well, about creating the self. It's watery, so it's a very deep emotional state, and you feel that deep into your bones as well. So when you're feeling deep into your bones, that's feeling your intuition as well. I can feel it in my bones. Yeah, so it's got a lot to do with trusting your intuition here as well. It's also about your dreaming energy, that watery dreaming energy. So here we're really, in the base, we planted the seed of what we want. And now in this chakra, we're starting to visualize everything. What we want, how it's going to happen, how it's going to make us look, how it's going to make us feel. We're starting to conjure up the dream, yeah? So it's not just our night dreams, our daydreams. And our daydreams are just as, or if not more important than our night dreams, because it's what we visualize. And we're visualizing through the day, every day. So we've got to decide what we want and visualize that, rather than visualizing what we don't want, which is what a lot of us do. Or we ponder not on what worked so great today, we always ponder on what didn't work a bit too long. And if you do ponder on that, well, how can I change that? Rather than just, and we all do it, we get stuck in this thing. So yeah, trying to transmute that energy as well. So the hormone in the body is also our restorative. It's our regenerative, our restorative, and our reprogramming. So we are right at the hormone, the ovaries and the testes. It's also the prostate gland and the fallopian tubes. So it's now time to create and grow. Any questions? So a lot of fluid movement, because it's the water in the body, all the fluids of the body will work around this base area today as well. It has a lot to do with our subconscious mind, because again, it's intuition. In Swadhisthana chakra, you see a moon in the sky and a reflection of the moon in the water. So the top one in the sky is like the conscious mind, and the reflection is our subconscious mind. So it's coming into our subconscious energy as well. Yeah, so using that intuition and that ability to grow and awaken. So it even starts right down here. So let's get started. So again, just starting, we're going to rotate around the feet and just release all of the joints, because this even gets the fluids moving. So just rolling around the right foot all the way from the blade to the instep, just 3 times, and then change direction, move the opposite way. And then over onto the left foot. And the opposite direction. Make sure you land the heel every time. And then leading into the left foot, pick up the right foot. So again, make sure you use bubbling springs, the beginning of the kidney meridian. Find that balance point. So it's behind the second toe, behind the ball of the foot. And just circling the ankle 3 times slowly, one direction. And then change direction. Then let the foot hang, circling the knee 3 times one direction. And change direction. So don't move fast, be conscious of the movement. Feel the fluid moving in the body. Let the leg hang and circle the foot 3 times, working into the hip joint. So the hips have got a lot to do with Swadhisthana chakra, change direction. And when we're locked in the hips, it's very hard to move forward. So changing sides. Swadhisthana chakra is also about our family, our financial situation, our friends, our loved ones. It's being part of the herd, feeling connected with the herd, change direction. And that ability to be able to knee joint to survive in the world, physically and emotionally and financially. Change direction. And let the leg hang, little circles through the hip. And change. Circling through the hips. Just have to do little circles, keep the shoulders still, isolate the shoulders. And change direction. And then a figure 8 side to side, that eternity symbol. The same shape fluid takes to clean itself. So hip, left hip forward, then pull the right hip back. Push the right hip forward, pull the left hip back. Yeah. So try to keep the shoulders still, just move the hips. And then change direction now that you've all got it. Left hip forward, left hip back. Right hip forward, right hip back. Feel that crossover at the perineum in the base of the body. Take all of the awareness to below the navel. Here is also the payas patches. Figure 8 front to back now. They heat, cool and thicken and thin the blood at the most appropriate times, these little glands in the intestines. We call it the seat of fevers. Change direction. So when we get a fever, these are the glands that heat up the body to burn out the old mucosa lining and bring a new mucosa lining through. But they'll also heat and cool the blood depending on us, where we're at. Bring the arms over the head and just lifting the opposite heel to ribs and just stretching side to side. We often respond through our adrenals above the navel, which is more programmed herd memory and energy. If we react from the payas patches, we're reacting from us, what we want. Roll the shoulders forward. Nice fluid movements. Don't lift the elbows. The arms are just hanging, just in the shoulders. And change direction. And then just circle the chin, releasing the neck, jaw relaxed. And change direction. And then imagine you have a spoon under your chin and you're stirring the pot. So chin forward, out to the side and back. And then take the left ear to the left shoulder. And just stretching from the lymph filters to the lymph glands. Letting go of all that no longer serves. So in the lymph we're holding everything all the information for the body, but some of these, and we're pulling the toxin out of the body through the lymph. So we're just imagining we're releasing all that no longer serves physically, emotionally, mentally. Take the chin down to the chest and then roll the left ear to the left shoulder, the right ear to the right shoulder. And just opening the lymph filters, 4 fingers under the ears to the lymph glands. Just have that sense of letting go. Bring the shoulders up under the ears and massage the lymph on the sides of the neck. We do this every day. And just really pull the shoulders up as high as you can. Squeeze right up. Big breath in and release the tension from the shoulders. Let go and just give your body a shake. Shaking all the fluids in the body. Keep the back of the neck long. Let the shoulders shrug. Make sure you're not dropping the head back because you want to keep the vertebra open. Relax the belly. Let all the organs in the belly relax. Just shake it all about. Move the hips a little bit. Just get the body moving. Get all those fluids moving. And as you shake the body, then the lymph can drain out. All the toxin can get into the tissues and out the body. Just shake it. Let it go. And shake the legs. Good. Okay. So just now we're going to rotate through the wrist, palms facing the front. Circling forward first, so through the thumb, the next finger, the next finger, the next finger, the little finger, then palms end up facing up. Turn the palms to the front again. Thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. And then palms facing up. Bring the little finger in as you're drawing inward, followed by the rest of the fingers all the way to the thumb. And then rolling out through the elbows. And rolling back in. And then rolling out through the shoulders. Feel that fluid moving through the joints. Just move through the fluid. And rolling back. Then we're just going to move the fluids in our body, lifting the left hip and the right shoulder. Then bend the knee and the elbow so the hip drops, the shoulder drops. Then present the outside of the ankle, the top of the wrist, and then release out the fingers and the toes. So imagine you have a ball rolling down the outsides of the body, lifting the hip and the shoulder, dropping the hip, dropping the shoulder, taking it into the elbow and the knee, take it to the outside of the wrist and the ankle, release to the extremities in the fingers and the toes. So we're pulling the fluid from the major joints all the way down the arms to the fingertips. We're also taking energy out of the body as well, so through the body and beyond the fingers and the toes. So extend 1,000,000 miles. Don't contract the extremities. Let the energy flow. In yoga, often we tend to extend and block at the fingertips and the toes. Always project 1,000,000 miles out so you can get that flow to the extremities of fluid and energy. And if you have space, you might want to walk. Really get into that fluid body. And then we're going to draw the energy in, lift the left toes and bring the right little finger under. Bring all the fingers through. Drop the hand down so you're opening in the wrist. Let the toes relax, opening in the ankle. Then we're going to pull the elbow out, rotate the leg around, coming up to the inside of the knee and the elbow. Flex the foot and then push back so that energy is moving into the body. Heel down first. So now we're gathering the energy we took to the extremities, lifting the toes and the fingers, taking it into the inside of the wrist and the ankle. Pull the elbow out so it comes to the inside of the elbow. Rotate the leg so it comes to the inside of the knee. Flex the foot so it's coming up the groin and into the body, heels first. So all that energy we took to our extremities, we're now bringing it back into the body. So we're creating the yin and the yang flow, the inward and the outward flow. So once you've brought it to one joint, you relax that joint and release it so you can pull it into the next joint. And then again, if you have the space, you might want to walk it. Good, and then bend the knees, inhale, imagine gathering energy up to the throat. Hold the breath in, and as you hold that breath in, imagine you're taking that energy, float it down to below the navel. Pull more energy from the base to below the navel, hold there. And then straighten the legs, relax, release, and breathe. And again, inhale, so we gather that energy at Swadhisthana. Pull the energy up as you inhale. Hold the breath in, let it come down to Swadhisthana chakra, below the navel, about 3 fingers, and pull more energy up from the base to below the navel. So getting that energy to move up, and then straighten the legs, relax, say VAM, V-A-M, VAM, VAM, VAM. And then we're just going to start to slowly twist through the spine. Inhale, let the arms float out. And then exhale, fold the arms across the body. And try to move from the hips right at that Swadhisthana area. Keep that fluid movement. So don't flick this time, not a fast move, and a slow, fluid movement. And back to the center. Good. And just start to pummel just into your pelvic area, just to wake the energy up in the pelvic area. We often get weak around here from sitting in chairs and lack of energy in Swadhisthana due to the implications around sex and what may have happened to you in previous times. Many things can break this energy down in Swadhisthana, and just that struggle that we have through life with family, finance, friends, relationships, loved ones. And when we lose a lot of that, we often lose the musculature around here as well. So just even by slapping, if you slap very fast 1,000 times a day, just say VUM, 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 V-A-M. Vibrate the top lip with a V. VUM, 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 VUM. We either get very tense or very loose or both in this area. So we're trying to get very strong. VUM, VUM, VUM. And then come to the back and just tap into your sacrum, that big bone between the hips. And just wake up the energy there where the nerves are of Swadhisthana chakra. Just give it a little tap in the sacrum. Good. Okay, so we'll just roll down through the spine, looking straight ahead. Reach out the crown of the head and then reach the head forward and down as you come down through the neck. And just take a breath in the back of the neck and the throat. And as you exhale, roll down between the shoulder blades and take a breath here. And then as you exhale, roll down through to the lower ribs and take a breath there. And as you exhale, roll down through the solar plexus between the navel and the lower ribs. Take a breath there. And then as you exhale, roll down to the navel. Take a breath there. And then on the next exhale, roll down to below the navel. So about 3 fingers below the navel and focus about 3 or 4 finger widths in from there. And you're at Swadhisthana chakra. So just breathe here at this point. Don't go all the way down through the tailbone. Just hold it here between the top line of the hips and the navel. And then bend the knees and rest the belly on the thighs so you really open up that sacral energy. Let the belly come back toward the spine. Hold there and breathe. Really let the head go. And then straighten the left leg, keeping the right leg bent. And change sides, bend the left leg, straighten the right leg. And just keep moving side to side here a little. Now bend the knees completely coming down into a squat. It doesn't matter if the heels lift off the floor. Bring the arms over the head at the same time. So try to get the arms as close to the ears as you can. And then gracefully place your bottom on the floor. Bring the feet together, keep the heels level with each other, and just flap the knees as if your knees were wings. Then squeeze the sit bone muscles to push the knees down. So find those muscles under the sit bone, squeeze them, and the knees will be pushed down by using those muscles. As you release, release in control. Don't squeeze and then just let them go. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. And then bend the elbows, start to pull the body forward, but keep your spine straight. Okay, so don't hunch like this. We're trying to open up through the hips and the sacrum, Swadhisthana chakra. You can keep visualizing the color orange here and keep visualizing what it is you want for yourself at this time, at this moment. It may be something physical, mental, emotional. You may be just asking to open up to your purpose, like speaking to the earth and the universe. But as you're visualizing this, visualizing exactly how it's going to come to you. how it's going to make you feel and act and react. Just bring it into your dreams. Really visualize it. How's it making you feel? And then inhale, just come up. Take the legs out to straight. Toes together, heels slightly apart. So not fanned out. And then just walk your hands down your legs, taking your belly to your thighs first. So some of you may only get to here, but don't arch in the spine. Keep opening up through the sacrum. Some of you may not go far at all and just push from your hands and come forward. And some of you may be able to go really far and walk all the way down your legs and take your head to your shins. As you inhale, lift up through the perineum, the base of the body, all the way up to below the navel, expanding the belly. And then as you exhale, just push the belly back toward the spine, that lower belly. So inhale, lift from the perineum, all the way up to below the navel. So from Muladhara to Swadhisthana. And then as you exhale, just gently press the belly back toward the spine from below the navel. And inhale, just reach forward and coming up to sitting. Just hold in the center here. Feel that energy move from the base to the brain. Starting to open more areas of the brain, bring more areas of the brain alive. So the hormone moves from the perineal body in the base to Swadhisthana chakra, the ovaries, the testes, and the pes patches. And that energy starts to move up to the brain. So the brain's now receiving information of what's happening down here, because that's where you're activating. And then open your legs into the splits. Lean forward, stick your bottom out a little bit, really get on those sit bones. And just pat the inside of the legs. And then give them a chop and say, ah. And then make your fingertips come together like star hammer and start to hammer the ligaments a little bit and say, oh. And then give them a little squeeze. Stretch those ligaments a little. Yeah, all the way down. And then rub, just give it a little rub. So pointing the toes up to the sky, again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start to come forward. So again, if you can't come very far forward, bring the hands by the sides, lengthen the spine, and just push forward a little bit. If you can come further forward, so you want to keep that spine straight again. You don't want to be arching in the spine. We're just opening up through the sacrum. So not pushing into the organs like this. Lift nice and long, and then reach forward. And you may be able to get your elbows to the floor. Or you may be able to just lay out flat. Wherever you're at, just feel that opening. You'll feel it a lot in the inner thighs, and you're bringing more fluid, more blood, more energy into the body with this stretch, yeah? And we're working around the hip area again and the sacral area. So use that same breath again. Inhale, lift up from the perineum to below the navel. And then exhale, push the belly back toward the spine, toward the sacrum. Inhale, lifting from Muladhara to Swadhisthana. And then exhale, just pushing back toward the sacrum with the belly gently. Inhale, lifting perineum to the top of the pelvis. And then exhale, push the belly back gently. And then inhale, just walk the hands in to come up. Hold in the center again. Feel that energy move from base to brain. And we're going to open in one more angle here now. So just bring the feet together and then come onto the knees. And then open the feet out, try and get the heels in line with the knees. Just see how far you can go with this. So you don't want to be on the tops of the knees. You want to try and get on the insides of the knees. And try to bring the hips as much as you can in line with the knees. So just rock back and forward a little bit here. Be careful if you have sore knees, just come onto the tops of your knees and you can rock backward and forward this way. But don't pike out of it either. So just rock a little. And then push back. Now see if you can bring the elbows onto the floor. And see if you can slide the knees open a little bit wider. And just say, ah, pleasure. Good. And now see if you can spread the elbows and get the chest to the floor without sliding forward. Try to keep the bottom in line with the knees as much as you can. And turn the head to the side and just rest your head on your hands. Now as you inhale again, you're going to lift from the perineum to Swadhisthana. Curl the tail a little bit. And then exhale, imagine you're pushing your pubic bone to the ground and spreading the knees wider open. Inhale, lifting from the perineum to below the navel. And then exhale, pressing the pubic bone toward the floor, spreading the knees further open. Inhale, lifting from Muladhara to Swadhisthana. And then exhale, trying to get that pubic bone closer to the floor. See if you can spread the knees a little more. And now just hold here and breathe. Really getting the hips to release. Now bring the toes towards each other to touch, and pressing up through the hands, come to sit on the heels. So the knees are still wide apart. You've just brought the toes together. And then walk the hands in, begin to lift the chest. And then start to walk the hands back, see if you can bring the knees in together. And say, "Whoa!" Interlace the fingers, take the hands over the head, inhale, coming up off the feet. So we're sitting on the feet now. And then as you exhale, just sit to the right side of your body if you can. So see how much we've got in that pelvic floor. Then inhale, lifting off, coming up. And then exhale, sit over to the opposite side. So project out through the hands, inhale, lift. And then exhale, sit. Inhale, lift. And exhale, sit. One more round. Really starting to pump energy around the base there. Let's do one more round. Feel the warmth coming into your hips now. Hopefully you can feel the energy moving in your hips a little more. And then release coming up. Okay, so cross your feet and sit back onto your bottom. And we're going to lay down. Okay. So just lying on your backs. And we're going to bring the feet up next to the bottom. We're just going to swing our knees, but not very far. We're just going to swing side to side until the hip just starts to lift off. Keep the belly falling back toward the spine and really feel all that musculature around the pubic bone and up toward below the navel. But I want you to feel it sinking back toward the spine, not pushing it up and pushing all the organs out of place, not pushing down from the solar plexus and prolapsing everything. Just let everything fall back toward the spine and imagine you're using the perineum to bring the legs up after you swing them to the side. So it's a small movement, just a small movement. And then if you have a cushion or a block handy, probably should have asked you to get those handy before, or you can imagine you're holding a block or a cushion between your legs. Just gaining a little bit of strength through the inner thighs now. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to keep squeezing the block as we move side to side. And that'll make you engage those muscles around the pelvic area and the perineum a little bit more. Relaxing the sternum back toward the spine, relax the lower ribs toward the spine. Just put your hand in your solar plexus and make sure you're not pushing in and down from the solar plexus. You want to feel a lift coming in and up from the pubic bone toward the solar plexus. And then come back to center, release, remove the cushion or the block. And now just bring the knees right up into the chest and drop the knees to the left, the head to the right. Just releasing into the back and the hips. Coming into a twist. Try to keep both shoulders on the ground. Take the head to the opposite side. And say, oh. Make sure you're relaxing all the organs through the abdomen, especially in the pelvis. And then as you coming back up, work the belly back to the spine and the spine into the floor. And then exhale to the opposite side. Keeping the knees quite close to the chest, head turn the opposite direction now. So knees to the right, head to the left, both shoulders on the floor. Just breathe and check into Swadhisthana chakra. Is everything relaxed in that area? And just come into that very feminine moon energy. That watery energy. That very deep emotional state. And imagine yourself here illumined Coming deep into contact with yourself, feeling safe with your tribe. Feeling safe and connected in your lifestyle with your family, your friends, your loved ones, whether it's your blood family or the family that you have created. And then as you inhale, bring the knees back to center, keep the belly back toward the spine, and bring the feet to the floor, just a little bit away from the bottom, toes pointing straight ahead. When you have your feet next to your bottom, when you say in line with the hips, it's in line actually with your sit bones. And just drop the belly back to the spine. And we're just going to do a tiny little move here. So we're just going to press our sacrum into the floor, and you'll feel that your tailbone very slightly starts to tilt up, curl under a little bit, but only very slightly. And it's not a grouping movement. And then very gently release. Just push the sacrum into the floor, let the belly come back toward the spine, and feel the tail curl and release. So you're just creating a little pump, pulling from Muladhara to Swadhisthana, from the base of the body into the pelvic area. Now just check that as you do that, you're not gripping in the solar plexus and starting from the solar plexus. What can tend to happen is we start to switch on the external muscles and we'll push down from the solar plexus and pull in. There shouldn't be anything happening in the solar plexus at all. We're just moving from the base to the pelvis. So we're just going to keep pumping, pressing the sacrum in the floor and releasing. So starting to wake up this energy, pulling fluid and energy into this chakra. This will also help to feed into all of the pelvic bowl and the hip area. So we'll start to loosen up the hips. Once the hips are getting looser and looser, then we're moving more in our direction, following our path. Just make sure that your feet are pointing straight ahead, that the toes aren't turned out. Just keep the pump going. You might start to feel warmth moving into that sacral area, the sacred sacral area. And this is already the beginning of rejuvenation. And now press the sacrum in the floor and hold it there. Get the weight even between the 2 feet. So you should feel that the belly's sucking back and lifting up toward the ribs a little bit now. Press the lower back into the floor as well, and feel that there's a little bit of weight coming out of the sacrum, that big bone between the hips. And now pressing just under the ribs in the floor, and the sacrum will lift off the floor. Keep the belly back toward the spine. Just check if you're pushing downward from the solar plexus. If you are, relax it. And now start to push into your lower ribs so the back starts to peel off the floor, the lower back. And you should feel everything sucking in and up from the base, all of the organs, back toward the spine and up toward the ribs. And now pressing above the ribs in the floor, feel the mid-back start to lift and the beginning of the lower ribs. And then coming up under the shoulder blades, peeling off. Don't let the knees splay out. Keep the knees in and start to peel all the way up between the shoulder blades. Hands are by the sides of the body, palms facing the floor. Now feel your feet, feel bubbling springs. So bring your awareness behind the second toe, behind the ball of the foot. Push into there and push the hips up. Keep the solar plexus down, the ribs down, the chest down, the back of the neck long and soft. Now imagine again that you're holding that brick in the inner thighs and push the pubic bone up to the universe. And now exhale, gently drift the knees just a little to the left, but keep the hips up and aligned. Inhale, come to center. Press the tops of the shoulders in the floor. Exhale, just a little drift to the opposite side. Inhale, center, and exhale, drift again. So just work with the breath, inhaling to center and exhale, drifting to the opposite side. Just a tiny little move. So you're working around that pubic bone and hip area. Keep pushing the pubic bone up to the sky. Press the arms into the floor, the tops of the shoulders pushing back into the floor. And then come back to center and gently lower yourself to the floor, vertebra on vertebra. Mid-back touches first. So tuck the tail just a little bit more to get the lower back to the floor. And then the sacrum. And then release the tailbone. And just stop and breathe here. Become aware of the sensations in the body. And then bring the knees into the chest. Hug the knees in and just rock backward and forward so you're feeling like you're opening all those lower vertebrae and sacrum. So exhale, pull the knees in. Inhale, let them drift away. Very gentle, slow movement, no jerky movements. Just really getting into that sensual feeling, that slow, sensual, fluid feeling. And then release the hands by the sides and just do little circles with the knees. So you're actually circling around the sacrum. And then change direction. And then opening and closing the knees as you circle, but just stay around the hip area and that sacrum, that large bone between the hips. We're just moving around the sacrum, getting as much heat and warmth and energy in there as we can. And then change direction. And bring the knees together, roll onto your side, and very slowly coming up into sitting. So bring one hand on the belly, one hand on the solar plexus. As you inhale, let everything expand. Then as you exhale, pull just below the navel, the lower hand back toward the spine. Inhale, below the navel's expanding again. As you exhale, see if you can use the muscles to pull below the navel back toward the spine. So this is a muscle we often lose. So this is a good practice to get it to wake up again. So just with your breath, inhaling and exhaling, just let the top hand, the energy there, just let it be still. And I want you to try and isolate this bottom energy. So inhale, the belly, lower belly expands. And then exhale, the lower belly, all that pelvic energy comes back toward the spine. This is our cooling and calming energy as well. A lot of people have released anxiety from breathing just in this area. Anxiety only really sits here or above the navel. So we've got to come into connection with there, and then it helps to calm the whole nervous system down. It pulls you more back toward the parasympathetic nervous system. Now see if you can inhale, expanding into both hands. And as you exhale, pushing back where both hands are. So below the navel, behind the navel, and above the navel. So we're going to speed this breath up, but don't speed the breath up if you can't push back below the navel. And don't speed the breath up if you have high blood pressure or high heart rate or peptic ulcers. Only if you're feeling good and healthy. So we're just coming with the breath now. Keep it slow if you can't get it below the navel. Otherwise, you're just going to pull into the solar plexus on the adrenals. And we don't want that. We want the opposite energy. So let's go. Inhale. Let the belly naturally expand. As you exhale, force it back. As you inhale, the belly naturally expands. As you exhale, force it back. Inhale, naturally rebounding out. Exhale, force back. Begin to speed it up. Make sure the shoulders aren't going up and down, that the belly's moving. So we don't want, we want the whole body might lift up and down a little bit, but not just the shoulders. And then slow the breath, deepen it, let it expand, and then exhale, bring it back. Inhale, expand. Exhale, bring it back. And just get a little bit deeper. Then we're going to bring the pace back in again. Really getting the energy to move in Swadhisthana. Speeding. Reach out the crown of the head. Make sure you're aiming this energy toward right in the center of your head. Look out toward the horizon. Lengthen the spine. Slow down. Let the belly relax. Lengthen the back of the neck, so draw the chin in ever so slightly. Reach out the crown of the head. One more round, picking the breath up again, deepening. Bring the hands onto Swadhisthana chakra. Reach out the crown of the head, drop the shoulders, lengthening the back of the neck so you feel the ears begin to lift. See a rusty orange, like a vermilion orange, six-petaled lotus in this pelvic area. Swadhisthana chakra, sitting close between the navel and the pubic bone. And then just bring the thumb or a finger around to the middle of the sacrum and just press into the middle of the sacrum there. And that's around about where the nerves for Swadhisthana chakra is. So if you take your thumb around and you press into the sacrum and say Swadhisthana as you're taking it there, you'll probably take yourself straight to Swadhisthana. And just hold that pressure there for a minute. Just close the eyes. And then just bring the thumb away and feel the pressure point there you were just touching. And just focus on that spot that you were just pressing on. And just repeat silently to yourself, Swadhisthana, 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 Swadhisthana. Keep your focus on that point that you were just pressing on. As you begin to awaken Swadhisthana chakra, beginning of coming into your power. And now bring the thumb and press on the top of the pubic bone. So this is a front location for Swadhisthana chakra. And just hold the pressure there for a minute. And really become aware of what you're thinking and feeling when we're working down here, because we even start to put energetic looms out like cords to attach to those things. So make sure you've got really nice thoughts and feelings here. Start focusing on your intention if you like. And then release the thumb and just focus on that pressure point. And repeating the sound and the name of the chakra, Swadhisthana, 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 or Swadhisthana. It can be pronounced either way. Just like a sun or a sana. And see that 6-petaled orange lotus in the pelvic area. And just feel all the energy around the pelvic area, even moving up to around 3 fingers below the navel. Feel the energy resonating in Swadhisthana. See it in that lotus flower. And in the center of the lotus flower, a line, as if there's a circle in the center of the flower and there's a line right through the middle, moving horizontally across. And above the line is a beautiful night sky with a white crescent moon. Well, it's actually a blue sky with a white crescent moon. A day sky, but with a moon in it. And we see this energy as our conscious energy. And sitting below a dark ocean, a night ocean. And in the ocean is a reflection of a silver crescent moon, reflecting from the moon in the sky, our subconscious mind. As we bring our conscious thoughts into our subconscious mind, and as we allow our subconscious mind to awaken and bring that forward into our conscious mind, so we can correct whatever we need to correct in our lives. What we're doing subconsciously that may not be helpful, and what we're doing consciously that may not be helpful. So the subconscious is talking to the conscious, and the conscious mind is programming that subconscious mind. And then bringing forth from there the subconscious mind, giving all the helpful, useful thoughts and information to the conscious mind, so we can start to think in a different way, in a more positive way. So as we step through life, we're feeling comfortable with our tribe, because we're feeling and thinking differently about ourselves. That we know we can survive on this planet financially and physically. And we begin to transform the sexual energy into regenerative energy. So we're keeping some of that energy for ourselves and using that energy to move through our body and heal and regenerate our bodies, and to help expand our mind. But expanding it in with that group consciousness. And see now you gathering your whole tribe around you of similar thoughts and feelings and actions. Creating a very strong group mind. And this is your tribe. Imagine now you're just sending your intention out to the universe, Just let that lum, that energy come out from your pelvic area now and take it out into the universe. And then just cut that cord and let the intention move out to the universe so it can come back to you. Breathing in below the navel, let it expand and use the sound VAM, vibrating the V with the top lip. VAM. 4 more times, 5 more times. Inhale, expanding. VAM. 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 Last one. And just bring the right hand of thought toward the heart, the soul, and the left hand of action toward the heart and the soul. These two energies, same down in Swadhisthana, the conscious, the subconscious. And bring those two energies of the conscious and the subconscious together at your soul and see them in perfect balance. Take a full breath in, release with the sound OM. And just bow to that divine inner nature within you, that divine sexual, sensual energy within you. And see that divine sensual energy within everybody. And see that energy allowing all of us to grow, to heal, to become. Namaste.